The Hisui region introduced a whole new wave of regional forms and evolutions that pushed the boundaries of what we thought was possible. These aren't just simple redesigns, they come with fresh typings, new abilities, and unique battle identities that shake up the meta in unexpected ways. From sleek new evolutions to Hisuian variants that redefine their roles, there's a lot of potential here that hasn't been fully realized competitively. Some are almost there, while others need a bit more love to really stand out. What's going on, my fellows? It's your boy DyeItTight. If you enjoy these kind of breakdowns, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, consider joining to support the content, and hop into the Discord to be part of the community. Now, let's buff some Hisuian forms. In this video, we're focusing on the regional variants and their evolutions, giving them the boost they need to become real contenders. Some of these Pokemon are just a few smart tweaks away from shaking up the competitive scene, so let's give them the tools to shine. Hisuian Arcanine gets a much needed stat boost and key move pool addition to finally unleash its full potential. The attack increase to 130 turns it into a legitimate wall breaker capable of dishing out serious damage with moves like Flare Blitz and Head Smash, especially when it's paired with Rockhead to ignore recoil. Its speed jumps to 105, letting it outspeed common base 100s and mid-speed threats. Both defense stats are rising to 90 to give it more staying power, especially when using Intimidate. The addition of Earthquake is a huge deal, finally giving it coverage it needs to handle rock and fire resistant threats. These changes don't reinvent Arcanine, they simply refine it into the powerhouse it was always meant to be. Hisuian Electrode receives a solid overhaul that pushes it from a fragile gimmick to a speedy special threat with surprising bulk. Its special attack jumps from 80 to 110, allowing it to hit hard with powerful electric and grass moves, while the special defense boost to 95 helps it survive special hits that would otherwise KO it instantly. Defensively, the increase in defense to 80 adds a bit more resilience against physical attackers, which, combined with its blistering base 150 speed, lets Electrode outspeed nearly everything on the field and act as an effective fast pivot or special attacker. Although its abilities Soundproof, Static, and Aftermath remain the same, these can provide situational utility and chip damage, with Aftermath especially punishing foes that can knock it out. With these upgrades, Hisuian Electrode becomes a versatile and explosive option that can disrupt teams and apply pressure through speed and power. Hisuian Typhlosion finally becomes the devastating special attacker it was meant to be, with a clean stat boost and a big ability upgrade. The special attack increase to 139 makes its Eruption and Shadow Balls hit absurdly hard, turning it into a legitimate nuke when healthy. The speed bump to 105 pushes it past key threats in its tier, helping it function more reliably as a revenge killer or early game wall breaker. Its attack boost to 100 also gives it the option to run physical or mixed surprise sets, especially with access to coverage like Flame Charge or Shadow Claw. Swapping out Blaze for Magic Guard is the real game changer. Now, Typhlosion doesn't take damage from hazards, status, or Life Orb recoil, meaning it can stay healthy to maximize Eruption's power. Frisk gives it more utility-based options for scouting sets. These upgrades transform Hisuian Typhlosion from a frail, mid-speed caster into a high-pressure special wall breaker with staying power and flexibility. Hisuian Samurott gets the edge it's been missing with a focused stat overhaul that finally pushes it into real offensive territory. The attack boost to 118 lets it take full advantage of sharpness-boosted moves like Ceaseless Edge and Sacred Sword, making its slashes hit significantly harder. With speed raised to 100, Samurott now competes with much more crowded and dangerous speed tier, allowing it to outspeed key threats that used to force it out. The defense bump to 90 and special defense to 85 don't turn it into a tank, but they give it enough bulk to set up or pivot safely when needed. While it didn't receive any new moves, these stat changes are more than enough to let it function as a fast hazard setting threat, a reliable breaker, or even a swords dance cleaner in the right matchups. Now, Hisuian Samurott feels more like the lethal tactical warrior it was always meant to be. Hisuian Lilligant levels up into a lethal physical sweeper with just a few key adjustments. The attack boost to 120 lets it hit much harder with moves like Victory Dance, Close Combat, and Leaf Blade, while the speed increase to 115 puts it ahead of key offensive threats, allowing it to clean up games with ease. The bump to 80 defense gives it just enough durability to set up safely, especially against weaker physical attackers. But the real game changer is the ability swap. Replacing Leaf Guard with Moxie turns every KO into momentum, snowballing Lilligant into a late game win con. While it didn't get any new moves, the combination of better stats and a self-fueling ability transforms Hisui and Lilligant from a solid option into a terrifying offensive threat that demands respect from Team Preview alone. Hisui and Zoroark was already one of the most unique Pokemon ever designed, but these buffs turn it into a terrifying offensive force. The special attack boost to 135 lets it hit like a truck with moves like Shadow Ball, Hyper Voice, and its newly added Moonblast, which offers crucial coverage against dark types and dragons that would otherwise wall it. The speed increase to 125 now pushes it into a wider range of offensive threats, letting it act as a revenge killer or deadly cleaner in the late game. While it being frail has always been its biggest drawback, bumping both defense and special defense to 70 gives it just enough durability to take any non-stab hit and keep the pressure on. Its signature ability Illusion only becomes more dangerous with higher speed, allowing it to disguise as slower threats and force misplays. With these upgrades, Hisui and Zoroark becomes more than a mind game machine. It's a serious threat in its own right. Hisui and Braviary gets the push it needed to go from clunky niche to a legitimate offensive threat. The special attack boost to 122 helps it make full use of powerful moves like Hurricane, Psychic, and Mystical Fire, hitting far harder than before and pressuring common special walls. More importantly, its speed jumps from 65 to 85, giving it the ability to outrun key walls and slower offensive threats, making it a much more viable option in the mid-speed matchups. The real breakthrough, though, comes in the form of ability upgrade. Newly added competitive punishes, intimidate, and sticky web strategies when after it terras. While its current abilities, Sheer Force lets it drop devastating boosted attacks like Air Slash, Hurricane, or Psychic without drawback, and Tinted Lens lets it blow through resistances entirely. Hisui and Braviary still retains its bulk with 110 base HP, but now it has the speed, power, and utility to back it up as a dangerous special breaker in any format. Hisui and Gudra was already a strong special tank, but with these changes, it becomes a true defensive anchor with offensive presence. The boost to special attack, up to 120, lets it hit much harder with moves like Flash Cannon and Dragon Pulse, while the defense increase to 110 patches up some of its biggest weaknesses, taking physical hits reliably. Speed rising to 75 might not seem like much, but it opens up important matchup shifts, letting it outspeed certain walls and creepers it couldn't before. The addition of Calm Mind and Recover transforms Gudra into a threat that can snowball through teams while still tanking special hits with its elite 150 base special defense. On top of that, swapping Sap Sipper for Regenerator gives it incredible longevity. Shell Armor protects it from crits during setup, and Gooey can punish physical attackers trying to break it. With these tools, Hisui and Gudra becomes a consistent win con and a nightmare for teams without dedicated counters. Hisui and Avila gets a serious power-up that transforms it from a pure wall into a genuine threat on both sides of the field. The massive special defense boost to 80 gives it the durability it was always missing, turning it into a true mixed tank that can soak up hits from all angles. Its move pool gets a big offensive boost too, now learning Thunder Fang, Fire Fang, and Jaw Lock, perfect for water, steel, and ghost types. With the ability Strong Jaw, these new moves get a damage boost that makes Avalugg far more punishing to switch into. Combined with its already great base 127 attack and sky-high 184 defense, Avalugg Hisui becomes a dominating physical presence that can pressure the board offensively while still anchoring your team defensively. Hisui and Decidueye takes on a whole new identity as a fast and fearsome physical attacker with the tools to sweep or break through bulky cores. The jump in speed to 110 completely redefines its role, letting it outspeed a wide range of threats and capitalize on its new offensive presence. Boosting its attack to 123 turns moves like Triple Arrows and Leaf Blade into serious damage dealers, especially when paired with the new Sniper ability and access to Focus Energy, giving it deadly crit synergy. Meanwhile, Scrappy offers perfect coverage by allowing it to hit ghost types with fighting moves like Close Combat, making it much harder to wall. With the addition of Rock Slide, Decidueye also gains important coverage for flying and fire types that resist its stab. Altogether, these changes let Hisui and Decidueye carve out a threatening niche as a fast, high-pressure physical attacker with strong late-game cleaning potential. Sneasler was already a menace thanks to its speed and offensive typing, but these buffs elevate it to one of the most threatening physical attackers in the game. The attack boost to 145 gives it insane raw power, letting it demolish walls with fighting and poison stab while also dishing out some serious damage with the new coverage like Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, and especially Knockoff, which adds both utility and disruption. The speed increase to 130 pushes it into elite territory, outpacing nearly every unboosted Pokemon and making it a nightmare to revenge. Minor boosts to defense and special defense help it survive priority and chip just long enough to sweep. With Poison Touch adding status pressure, and Unburden turning item consumption into late game speed boost, Sneasler becomes an unstoppable snowball in the right setup. These upgrades transform it from a niche pick into a hyper-offensive monster that dominates once it gets going. Overquill sharpens its role as a bulky utility attacker with a set of buffs that give it real competitive teeth. The attack increase to 120 makes its strong stab options like Barb Barrage and Crunch even more threatening, while the defense and special defense boosts let it stick around longer to get value. Now, sitting at 105 defense and 80 special defense, Overquill can reliably trade hits and pivot in throughout a match. The added speed bump to 90 gives an important edge against slower walls and bulkier setup sweepers. What really rounds out its new toolkit is access to Stealth Rock and Rapid Spin, giving it crucial entry hazard control while pressuring opposing teams with chip damage or hazard removal. Paired with Intimidate to weaken physical attackers or Poison Point for passive pressure, Overquill becomes a versatile tank and utility piece that's more than just a funky regional evolution. It's a real threat on both sides of the battle. And that's a wrap on buffing the Hisuian forms and evolutions. Now they're ready to tear up the competitive scene like never before. With these power boosts, fresh abilities, and new tools, these Pokemon aren't just fillers anymore. They're real threats that can carry your team to victory. If you enjoyed the breakdown, smash that like button, hit subscribe so you never miss a buff, and jump into the Discord to talk about all things Draft League. Let's keep pushing the meta forward. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.